I played beautifully in 2001. I didn't feel like I was playing my best golf. I putted and chipped it quite well, but I managed myself, and I don't know if I just let go that much more, what the difference was, but I just felt and knew I was going to win the golf tournament.
Have you ever wondered what it really takes to become a world #1 golfer at the highest professional level? David Duval did it, but he'll tell you something most champions won't admit openly. There were 5 golfers he absolutely couldn't stand to compete against. Now, before you think this is some angry rant, let me explain what this really means in professional golf. In elite golf, when a champion says they can't stand someone, they're not talking about dislike. They're talking about respect, deep respect. They're talking about rivals so talented and relentless that beating them was almost impossible. These 5 men forced David Duval to become the best version of himself. And in doing that, they created the scar tissue that defined his entire career. Today, we're breaking down why these 5 golfers made Duval's life so difficult. Let's start with Tiger Woods. Duval never feared Woods. He said so directly. He had huge respect for him. But here's what Duval understood. Tiger Woods changed the entire standard of what winning meant in professional golf. Before Woods arrived, you could win with solid ball striking and a decent putter. Woods came along and changed everything forever. You need to dominate driving. You need the best iron shots. You need to scramble better. You need clutch putting. Winning became perfection. And Duval watched this shift happen in real time. He understood that to compete at the highest level, he had to match it completely. He had to transform his body and raise his level. And he did. The years from 1999 to 2001 tell the real story of this rivalry. In 1999, Duval started the season on fire. He won the Mercedes Championships by 9 strokes. Then he went to the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic and shot a final round 59 to win. That's one of the lowest rounds ever shot in PGA Tour history. At this exact moment, Duval was the statistical powerhouse. Woods was the media sensation, but they traded the world #1 ranking back and forth. Duval held it for 15 weeks. They were peers, dangerous peers in competition. The 2001 Masters is where this rivalry truly peaked. Woods and Duval were locked together at 15 under par heading into the back 9. On the 16th hole, Duval's approach went long, and he made a bogey. Woods made par. 1 shot was the difference. Woods won by 2. Duval played 71 holes of nearly perfect golf, but one mistake under maximum pressure was punished immediately. That's what it felt like to play against Tiger Woods. You could play almost flawlessly, but one tiny lapse would cost you everything in a major championship. Here's what the statistics tell us clearly. In 1999, Duval won 4 times before the Masters. Woods won 8 times that year. In 2000, Woods won 9 times and claimed 3 majors. No matter how well Duval played, Woods was always there on the leaderboard. That's why Woods is first on his list. In a fantasy scramble team, Duval picks Woods first because of his mind. His mental toughness is unmatched. The respect is absolute, born from going head-to-head with the greatest player of all time. Now let's talk about Vijay Singh in detail. If Tiger Woods changed the game, Vijay Singh built an unbeatable fortress. Singh had 2 defining characteristics: work ethic and durability. Singh was famous for spending hours on the driving range, before rounds, after rounds, hitting thousands of balls daily. He believed that mechanical repetition was the answer to everything. Singh took this idea to an extreme level that few golfers could match. Duval himself was a range rat. He understood the grind, but Singh took it to another level entirely. Singh's baseline performance was incredibly high because every day was built on repetition and consistency. Singh didn't have hot streaks and cool periods like other players. He was steady, mechanical, relentless, and Duval knew that Singh flat out outworked everyone else on tour. That level of work ethic commanded deep respect from his peers who understood the sacrifice required. Here's where it gets interesting. As Duval's career slid in the early 2000s due to vertigo and back injuries, Singh was entering his prime, and Singh was in his 40s. Most players think about retirement then. Singh was getting better. In 2004, Singh rose to world #1. He won 9 times that year and earned nearly $11 million. Duval watched this from the sidelines with awe. Here was a man in his 40s still dominating the sport. Singh would remain competitive well into his 50s. Duval knew why. It was the work ethic. It was the durability. It was the mechanical approach that didn't break down under stress. The contrast between their swings tells the entire story. Duval's swing was explosive, generated immense power through rapid transition and significant lateral movement. It created brilliant moments. The 59, the world #1 ranking. But that explosive power came with a cost. It put violent torque on his body over time. Singh's swing was different, tall, rhythmic, a wide arc. It generated power through physics and practice, not violence. Singh was the ultimate maintenance player. He didn't rely on adrenaline, he relied on perfect repetition. When an opponent doesn't get tired or break down emotionally, it's almost impossible to beat them consistently. The 2000 Masters showed this perfectly. Duval made 4 birdies on the front 9 to get close to Singh, but Singh's relentless consistency held firm. When Duval's ball found the water, his chance ended. Singh stayed composed and controlled. That's durability, hole after hole, year after year. Duval's respect for Singh is about recognizing someone who refused to fade when pressure mounted. Now, Ernie Els is a completely different story. Els represents something Duval never had naturally. Natural talent that looked effortless. Els had a swing of such fluid grace it appeared he wasn't trying hard. For Duval, who built everything through intense focus, Els was infuriating. Els was efficient. He hit fairways, he hit greens, he putted with a pure stroke, and he did it all while looking completely relaxed. That calm under pressure was a weapon. His rhythm could seduce an opponent into losing their own edge. Duval and Els share something unique historically. They are the 2 players who suffered most directly from Tiger Woods' dominance. In 2000, Ernie finished second to Woods in 2 majors in the same year, the US Open and the Open Championship. Duval had the same experience repeatedly. This shared trauma created mutual respect. Duval knew that Els's natural talent was enough to dominate in any other era of golf. If you remove Woods from 2000 entirely, Els becomes the undisputed player of the year with 2 majors. Duval's can't stand feeling comes from realizing that even without Woods, he would have faced this giant, 6'3", with the touch of a surgeon. In 1998, the international team beat the Americans at the President's Cup. This was the only time this happened in history, and Els was the anchor of that team. That sting went into the scar tissue. Duval notes that Els seemed capable of challenging Woods early on. The real tragedy is that Els had so many close calls. Els won 4 majors, but he could have easily won 8 or 10. Duval respects the sustained consistency and the mental fortitude required to keep competing at the highest professional level. Now we come to Phil Mickelson. If Duval was a scientist calculating probabilities, Mickelson was a jazz musician improvising in real time. Phil had creativity and shot making that nobody else possessed. He had imagination that could separate rounds when conditions demanded something different. Duval wanted to control everything: the ball, the spin, the outcome. Mickelson embraced chaos. He would attempt shots no rational player would consider. High flop shots from hardpan, drivers off the deck, aggressive lines over water. When these shots worked, it was demoralizing for an opponent like Duval, who played by the book. Duval was a supreme ball striker. He led the tour in greens and regulation during his peak. Mickelson had a different skill set. He could beat you even when missing greens. His short game was legendary. In the 2001 Masters, while Duval and Woods played chess, Mickelson played a high variance game. He made 25 birdies that week, a record at the time, but he also made 2 double bogeys. A bad drive could become a birdie through magic recovery shots. But the real story of Duval and Mickelson is about diverging paths. They were contemporaries competing for the same identity, both desperate to shed the label of best player, never to win a major. Duval won the 2001 Open Championship first. Mickelson didn't win his first major until 2004. Then something changed. Duval's body broke down. Mickelson's soared. Duval watched from the sidelines as Phil collected major after major in his 30s and 40s. Duval has reflected that if he had stayed healthy, he might have outdone what Mickelson ultimately accomplished over his long career. Mickelson represents the longevity and fulfillment of potential that Duval was denied by his own body. If you're still watching, you understand these aren't just names on a list. These are the real people who pushed David Duval to excellence and beyond his expectations. But before we get to our 5th and final rival, I want to ask you something really important. Which of these golfers do you think pushed Duval the hardest? Was it Woods' mental perfection, Singh's work ethic, Els's natural talent, Mickelson's unpredictability? Comment below and let me know your thoughts. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. We cover the greatest rivalries in sports history with depth and insight. Now, the last name on Duval's list might actually surprise you. Jim Furyk is the 5th golfer on this list. Furyk doesn't have the star power of Woods. He doesn't have the work ethic legend of Singh. He doesn't have the natural talent of Els. And he doesn't have the creativity of Mickelson. So why exactly is he on this list? Because Furyk proved that efficiency beats aesthetics every single time in golf. Furyk had an unorthodox swing, disjointed, full of loops. It defied every textbook convention. Purists hated it, but Duval valued his methodical consistency above all else. Furyk was proof that you don't need a perfect swing to be perfect at golf. You need a repeatable swing. You need one that delivers the same result every single time. Furyk knew his swing was ugly, but the club face was square at impact. Every single time. Duval respects him because Furyk never compromised his own DNA. He didn't try to look perfect, he just tried to be effective and consistent. Duval has spoken about how he destroyed his own swing, trying to compensate for injuries. He chased ideal positions. He tried to look perfect, and it cost him. Furyk never did that. That's why David Duval respects him so deeply. There's another bond between them. They are the founding members of an exclusive club, the 59 Club. Players who have shot 59 or lower on the PGA Tour. Duval shot his 59 at the 1999 Bob Hope Chrysler Classic to win. Furyk later joined with a 59 at the 2013 BMW Championship. Then he shot a 58 at the 2016 Travelers Championship. That shared achievement creates mutual understanding. To shoot 59 requires more than skill. It requires a specific mental state, aggressive calmness. You cannot protect a score, you must keep attacking. Duval knew Furyk was capable of these scoring bursts. Furyk wasn't just a grinder, he was a sniper who could dismantle a course with precision. Furyk's peers called him a pest, a compliment of the highest order. He lacked the length of Woods, the touch of Mickelson, the power of Singh. He beat you by not making mistakes. He hit fairways, he hit greens, he holed putts with an unorthodox cross-handed grip, year after year. Duval respected this consistency because it's the hardest thing to play against. When an opponent doesn't miss, it forces you to press. And when you press, you make mistakes. Duval has cited Furyk alongside Singh as the benchmark for longevity. He questions whether modern aggressive power will allow current stars to have 20-year careers. Furyk represents the sustainable model of golf that Duval now wishes he could have maintained. Here's what these 5 men represent as a collective whole in professional golf. Woods set the standard. Duval matched it. Singh responded by outworking everyone. Mickelson responded with creativity. Els refined his natural gifts. Furyk perfected his efficiency. They formed a powerful feedback loop of excellence that defined an entire era of professional golf. These 5 golfers weren't just great individually, they were great because they were competing against each other. And Duval made something clear that many people miss completely. The financial rewards available to modern golfers came from the interest generated by these rivalries, these battles between Woods and Duval, between Duval and Singh, between any of them competing for majors. That's what drew eyeballs. That's what made sponsors pay. That's what created the massive money that modern professional golfers chase. So what does it mean that Duval couldn't stand these 5 golfers in competition? It means they were the only ones good enough to push him to his limit. It means they created the scar tissue that defined his career. It means they were worthy adversaries. In the end, Duval's list is a reflection of himself. He sees his own intensity in Woods, his work ethic in Singh, his talent in Els, his boldness in Mickelson, his consistency in Furyk. They were mirrors in which he measured his own worth. For a glorious window from 1999 to 2001, when David Duval looked into those mirrors, he genuinely liked what he saw. A world #1 in professional golf. Someone who feared absolutely no one. Not even the Titans he couldn't stand. That's the real story of David Duval's 5 greatest rivals. And that's exactly why this golden age of golf remains truly unmatched to this day in professional sports history.